I ain't right, I'm back. Follow me, but don't double tap. I ain't liking that. You subscribe, I monetize. Now who's striking that? Wanna see the contract? Who got the rights to that? It's my story. I spent my whole life on life. Time's up. Shador Sanders with the rollie in the armor. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. The main attraction don't come at me with no side show. I'm selling high, they wanna buy low.
Family, good morning. What's popping? What's going on with you, baby? We in this kitchen. We're trying to get everything prepped and prepared. And y'all arrive. Y'all at the door. Y'all saying, open up. We don't give a damn if you're ready or not. We coming to eat, baby. So, good morning. Welcome y'all to the kitchen, to the cook up, man. Me and T-Rock is in the building. Rock, how we feeling this morning, brother? I got you on mute. Let me unmute you right quick.
I appreciate that. I'm just so excited to see our people in the chat already. Jake, Shizzles, Terminal, Jay Jackson, Theo. I love being able to see that every time I wake up. Gets me ready, gets me going. And I get to do the show with you, man.
Yes, sir. And look, usually, man, it take a little while to get everybody kind of talking, man. But I'm glad to see they in the building early, man. Like I said, they was at the door waiting on us, bro. So today, man, is free agency frenzy, breaking news. Like if you got a sleeper app, NFL app, whatever app you got, man, if your notifications on, your phone battery is about to die because it's blowing up. Ping, 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 ping. Like every 5 seconds, man, a player signing. So,
but you couldn't see anything because Twitter was down. Do you remember
that?
The
worst
crazy
time, right? The worst. Because remember yesterday I told you, I said, Rock, man, my Twitter ain't showing me no love, bro. It thing tripping. And then
I was trying to send you stupid ass memes and you couldn't see them.
Yeah. And you hit me back like, bro, I don't know. They got me too. So I don't know what happened or what was going on. But I'm glad that we, got everything cleared up on the X space. And I went down my timeline and see all these crazy random signings, even some that I missed. So before we get into it, though, Rob, what was your favorite signing of yesterday? Like, what was the one that you looked at your phone and said, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, what made you smile yesterday, bro, when you saw your phone?
It was definitely Davante Adams, but I think that was that 2 days ago?
Yeah, it was a couple of days, but still, it was a signing, but it was like 2 days ago. Yep.
Definitely Davante Adams. He's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL. He's still one of the best wide receivers, even at his age. He's still cooking DBs all the time, and he gets to go to one of our favorite teams, Fizz.
Yes, sir.
And he's going to be alongside our favorite wide receiver, Puka Nacua. It's just going to be a brain trust right there between his experience and McVay's. It's going to be awesome. So I'm glad that he was able to get what he wanted. He wanted to stay on the West Coast. He gets to stay on the best team on the West Coast. So that was the one that made me the most excited.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And honestly, if I had to say so myself, it was one of the most exciting, but the most hurtful because it really officially stamped that my boy COOKUP is out of here, man. Not that I didn't know before, but that pretty much told me like, you're out of here, So I will say my favorite signing of the day was my guy, the one I love. I called him my son. I said my son got signed to the Jets today, man. It's Justin Fields. That's my dog right there. I love me some Justin Fields, man. That's my boy. So I'm happy to see he got a job. The only problem is seeing that 2 years, $40 million, because it kind of says it's a 1 year deal. Like the Jets could still, let's say Shador Sanders or Cam Ward fall to the Jets at 7. Do they not take one and then say, like there's still a chance that something crazy can happen and Fields could unfortunately still have somebody over his shoulder that he worried about. So the only way he can stop that is to go out there and ball. He with one of his guys, Garrett Wilson. You know what? Let's say that conversation for later. We gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna get too in depth, but I will say my favorite signing.
Yeah, I was excited about that one too. Just being a Ohio State guy, I want him to go to a situation where he finally has a chance. Feels like this is his real last really good chance. But yeah, we'll save that for when we start going through it. But I was excited about that as well.
That's it. And Rock, I know, look, Nick, I'm glad to see Nick, man. I don't know if I've seen you before, brother, but I appreciate you being here. I just told Rock, man, Pat's going crazy, man. He said, man, I ain't really paying attention to the defense and stuff. Bro, listen, this Pat's defense is going to be crazy on paper. on paper, man, them boys look ready, man. So unfortunately, though, they didn't make any other moves on the other side of the ball. But we're gonna get into that later. I just wanted to highlight this one because I was just trying to rock this before we got started. But man, let's see who we got in the building, man. We know we got my boy Jake in the building, always pre-gaming at the door before we even turn the lights on. So we appreciate you, brother. Yes, sir. We got that show going on tonight as well. We said last week we were gonna do it. We just said, you know what, instead of rushing it, not making it make sense, let's just huddle up and then get everything in order. So this week, well, not this week, tonight, 7:30 p.m. I'm all over the place, right? My bad. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will be back on this channel, the COOKUP evening channel. I don't know if you want to call it the cook something, right? We cooking something tonight, and it's a mock draft. So
come on over for dinner time.
That's it. Come over for dinner time, cocktails, get your drink on, you know what I'm saying? Have a good time. We having a Dynasty mock draft, but we doing it in a different way, man. I came up with this format. I kind of just popped in my head and I said, damn, you know what? This might be pretty dope, man. This is something that I want to try and hopefully get the people to try. So we announced that a little bit later on too. But yeah, Jake, we'll be back on tonight, brother. And Shizzle's in the building. Yeah, Shizzles, I'm not sure. Javonte Williams is Yeah. He's a red cup at the cook, I guess, brother. But shout out to you, my boy, for hopping on. Terminal, what's good, brother? You know, we got you in that Dynasty League. And yeah, I hogged up my boy on X the other day. So let me see. He said looking for a membership for the COOKUP League. So you mean like the Patreon? You trying to sign up for the Patreon, bro? If so, just let me know. We could give you the link and everything for that. But I got you in. Oh, you trying to get in the COOKUP League too? My bad. So he signed up for the other league. So he trying to get in both. All right, we can get you in both, bro. No problem. We need you in the other one. You want to join? Let's see if we can get Jay Jack in one of them things, man. But shout out Jay Jack. He always in the building. We got Theo, my boy. I ain't seen you in a while, brother. Glad to see you here, man.
Looks like he's been traveling. That's a different picture.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. We got Salt in the building, you know. So, man, wild boy, man. You know what I'm saying? Salt tried to put me on to some new music, man. I ain't knocked the artist, though, but he said the dude was like Nas, and I'm like, nah. You know what I'm saying? It went from Nas to nah. But he was solid, though. I'll give him his props, but he wasn't Nas. Brother.
Me and Salt were talking about steak the other week. I was giving him the reverse sear method. It turned out, he sent me a picture. Damn, it looked really, really good. So appreciate Salt tuning in.
Well, I got to find out where DB is because I seen a video of somebody said the only way to cook steak in Canada, and they dipped it in a big pot of syrup, and then they cook it. So I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know. But I said, man, where my boy DB at? We got to confirm this, man. But shout out Big Corey in the building. And yeah, man, we appreciate y'all being here. So other than like, you know, the draft that we got going on tonight and our favorite signings, man, yesterday was just one of them days, bro, from beginning to end. Even when you went to sleep, you woke up and saw people still getting signed. So I guess to kick it off, this was like an early one in a sense. That boy DK Metcalf, man. DK Metcalf signed a $150 million deal over there in Pittsburgh. But the bigger question is, you got George Pickens. You got, I think, Jalen Warren is staying. You got an O-line that's so-so. Your defense is pretty solid. You got Mike Tomlin, who's never not made at least a 500% on his record, but where is the quarterback? Who's throwing the ball, right? They lost Justin Fields, clearly, because from what I read, Fields said he don't mind staying in Pittsburgh, but he needs to know that he's the number one. And maybe they weren't ready to commit to that. So who is their quarterback? Where will they find them? Will they move up to draft one, or will they just say, hey, it's Russell Wilson time? I mean, what they going to do, Rock? How you feeling about this Pittsburgh offense and the decision to trade for DK, pay him all his money, and not have anybody to throw it to him?
Yeah, first off, the biggest contract in Steelers history. Can you believe that for a guy that's never played a down for them? That's how much they value DK Metcalf. This was one of the first questions I also had as well, is who's going to be able to play quarterback for the Steelers, because it's unknown right now. They apparently really wanted to keep Justin Fields even after benching his ass, which doesn't make any sense to me, to be able to retain him after you benched him. But when it comes to the quarterback, I think it's easily Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is the one that opened up the offense for them last year. That's when they really started clicking. He already won that job in training camp. But Russell Wilson allows them to be a both passing and rushing team. They didn't have that, unfortunately, when it was Justin Fields at quarterback. George Pickens was basically on the bench for this first 6 games. He didn't really do that much. Then he became the George Pickens that we all have hoped to see. And then that George Pickens unfortunately went away at the end of the season. My question is, does having DK Metcalf, who plays a very similar game to George Pickens, kind of redundant? I think it makes a lot of sense to have DK Metcalf paired back with Russell Wilson. That's when DK Metcalf played at his best. But does this solve the offense? Because I think the bigger issue is not who's going to play quarterback. I assume that it's going to be Russell Wilson. If it's not Russell Wilson, then we can really ask, like, who the hell are they going to be able to go with quarterback? But their biggest issue last year was the offensive line, and also, too, the defense completely fell off after having a historic beginning of the season. That was the reason why they lost so many games at the end of the season. Their defense is totally shit the bed. But yeah, it's the offensive line, which hopefully they can address in the draft. But then also, too, like being able to attack that defense as well. And they only have Jalen Warren running back. I love Jalen Warren, but is that a position they're going to be able to attack in the draft? Because there's nothing left in the free agency. Do you think that Russell Wilson is going to be the quarterback next year? And if so, do you think that it's going to be better than what we saw last year is the real question, because they haven't won a playoff game, I think, in 8 or 9 years, which is absolutely insane. And you're on mute, Fizz.
Of course, right. They've went, but they haven't won, right? So my side of this conversation, and shout out to Nick, man. He said first time watcher. He just appreciate you, bro. You know, we appreciate that. Leave a comment later on, bro, so that way I can make sure I got you, pinned in, and I'm always look out for you on the channel, brother. But my biggest question / conversation about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, Rock. I got a couple of them, but starting with DK Metcalf. Like you just said, the most money they've ever paid a receiver, which they had plenty of receivers that they should have paid over the years and all let them all go to go get paid, right? Is this really a signing where you sign DK because you don't want to keep George Pickens? I mean, George Pickens. I think they might be trying to move on George Pickens after a year, bro. I think this is George Pickens' replacement, not his 1-2 punch, if you ask me. Like you just said, they play similar roles, similar games. And to be honest, if you paying a guy like DK Metcalf that type of money, when George Pickens' contract talk is up, you're not going to pay both. So I think that DK came in to take that number 14 off of Pickens' jersey and to take his job, bro. I really think that's what they signed him for. But I will say, as far as the quarterback situation go, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I've been hearing Aaron Rodgers is, in the talks. And I'm not sure if I trust Aaron Rodgers at this point, but I will say this is a veteran leader team right here. They can't go get a rookie, I don't think, with this team, to be honest. I see Salt say Jameis. You know I love you some Jameis, baby. So I always got to bring anybody up screen Jameis, you're going to get a shout out every time. But I will say this. I wouldn't mind Jameis as a backup, though. But if I'm the Steelers and they really believe that Aaron Rodgers is a guy, I'm calling Aaron Rodgers because he's going to go in hiding for like 3 months and then make his decision. Aaron Rodgers, you on the clock, you got 48 hours, bro. Matter of fact, you got 12 hours. By the night when the COOKUP is on that mock draft, if you don't call us back, we sign Russell Wilson, and that's the end of it. I'm not waiting around for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. And like Jay Jack said, the Titans are heating up on Russ right now. If you miss out on Russ and now Aaron Rodgers goes to the Giants, now what you got? You know what I'm saying? So you got to make your move right now, bro. Or unless Jameis Winston is one of those guys. I don't know. But I just think, to me, they need to be on the phone with Aaron Rodgers saying, Rodgers, you are our number one. If that's the case, if you don't want to be here, we need to know in the next couple hours, and we going to Russell Wilson. That's the end of conversation. I wouldn't wait around no longer, bro. So I don't see them trading away their future to go move up in this class to go get a quarterback. I just think Pittsburgh is going to be Pittsburgh, but they need a quarterback. That's the end of at the end of the day. And hey, I don't know, bro. There's a lot of things that can happen, but QB is number one if you're gonna go trade for DK Metcalf and pay him $150 million, bro. That's crazy. So
I think it would be kind of surprising, though, if they did move on from Russell Wilson, because I thought it was a really good fit with George Pickens, and even when they brought over Mike Williams. I don't know if they're going to retain him I'm not sure about that because he only signed a 1-year deal last year. But you have 3 wide receivers who can go down the field that are big-time, big-play wide receivers that can elevate and be able to catch the ball. DK Metcalf is actually more of a speed guy. He's not that great when it comes to contested catches. I think last year he was only at 36%. The year before that, only at 22%. But contested catches is kind of a fickle thing. That's not a big thing for me. But all I remember is that DK Metcalf played at his very best with Russell Wilson. I think they just need to be able to improve, other parts of the roster, especially on the offensive line, and be able to get a running back. I think if you bring in, I don't know, an Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, that's one more year that TJ Watt has to go without winning a playoff game potentially. He's played his entire career, with the Steelers.
So you saying if they get Rodgers, it's over with. They ain't going to playoff. That's what you're saying.
I think that it's going to be very, very tough. Can you imagine Rodgers going into the AFC North, getting his ass kicked by the?
I don't want to see it. I'm just saying. I've been hearing. I'm gonna say this right about Rodgers. I think he's washed at this point, but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers need a veteran quarterback. Arthur Smith's offense isn't for a young guy trying to learn. He needs to have a quarterback that can tell him no or call an audible, because a lot of those plays, I literally made a tweet when this signing happened with DK. They traded. I said, bro, imagine trading for DK and on 3rd and 8, you run the ball with Cordell Patterson. Like, that's the type of stuff they was doing with Justin Fields, bro. It's 3rd and 11, you run the ball with Cordell Patterson. Justin Fields didn't have that, aura to tell coach, no, I'm not running that play. Like, I think when Russ, because you saw when Russ came in, a lot of people say, I know you say this too, Rob, Russ changed the offense. He made it better. But if you look at the plays they were calling for Justin Fields, they was giving them the baby bop pack. Like, hey, man, you get this pacifier from DK Metcalf, and we're going to go ahead and let you run the smallest plays we can run. With Russ, it was, we're going to air it out, throw to George Pickens. So I think if they run with a young guy who isn't as savvy and as confident in himself, Arthur Smith is just not the OC for me to have my young generational QB in the building. I need a guy that can shove off the coach and say, yeah, I got this, coach. And I think Russ was doing that last year. So Russ, go ahead, bro.
When it comes to Arthur Smith, I know that the jury is still out on whether or not we already know that he's probably not that great of a head coach, just from his tenure in Atlanta. The real question is whether or not he's a good enough OC, in the NFL. I think maybe that also brings up questions as well, where he's kind of he's definitely better than Canada. That was one of the worst OCs that we've seen. He should have been gone from Pittsburgh years before he eventually got fired. I think the real question is also, too, can Arthur Smith make the most of George Pickens and also DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren and get the best out of Russell Wilson? Because maybe they are playing at their best. Maybe they're just limited by the offense. But for me, overall, I think this was a great signing by the Steelers. I know it's a lot of money. DK Metcalf is a very, very special wide receiver. So if you pair him up with Russell Wilson, that's going to honestly be a cheat code. A lot of times it comes down to chemistry. We saw what Davante Adams was able to do immediately from the start when he went to the Jets and was playing with Aaron Rodgers. So that chemistry does make up for a lot. So if you're able to do that, I think that this signing is probably one of the best ones they could have done. But there's still other questions outside of this that hopefully they do address later on in the season. But I think it ultimately comes down to, can Arthur Smith get the best out of all these players?
Honestly, no. But, we spent enough time on a 500 team. We tired of these mid teams, right? Rock, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, the next team I'm going to was pretty mid as well. But it was a good signing, and hey, man, we're gonna see what they can do, man. A lot of hope, a lot of dreams going on in Vegas. And hey, the new look Vegas, Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. The Raiders bet it all on black and hit on silver. So the question is, and it's funny, when I said silver, I really meant the gray hairs and Pete Carroll's hair. So they bet it all on black, baby, and they hit silver. But Geno Smith, it was an earlier signing that happened last Friday, but we ain't talk about it on the morning show, so we get through it pretty quickly with Geno Smith coming over there. I know me and Mike had a take on this on Friday, and Mike was saying that, you know, Geno wasn't better than the other two guys. And I'm like, come on, Mike, you got to get Geno a little bit more love than that. So I know you said that you actually love Geno, and you actually have a lot to say about, you know, what he has to bring to the table and his upside in this offense. So I'm going to let you have the floor on Geno, bro. I know that's your guy. You said you wanted to let us know about him. So how was this Geno Smith-led offense going to look in Las Vegas, brother?
So just from like a statistical standpoint, Geno Smith last year had a PFF pass grade of 81.9. That's top 9 in the league. He also passed this. The Seahawks passed at one of the highest rates in the NFL. So they based the whole offense around him. Even though they had Kenneth Walker, they chose to pass with Geno Smith. And despite all the issues they had with their offensive line, he has a 4.5% big time throw rate. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about Geno Smith is that he throws one of the best deep balls in the NFL. And also, too, he had adjusted completion percentage of 78.4%. That's top 9 in the NFL. Geno Smith, to me, is like Kirk Cousins as far as one of the most underrated quarterbacks, is able to make any throw, you know, on the field. And here's the best thing about what I really, really love about Geno Smith. He didn't do much of anything for the first half of his career. He was this close to just being someone that was going to be on the bench and then retire, you know, just be discarded and stuff like that. To have someone who's gone through that much adversity in the first half of their career and now become a top 12 to 15 quarterback statistically for 3 years straight on an offense that, you know, when they transitioned from Russell Wilson, they didn't really miss that whole much of a beat, you know, when it came to being one of the most consistently well-rounded teams, especially from a passing perspective. But I've seen enough film on Geno Smith to know that he is a very talented passer. And also, too, he was just not interested whatsoever. Apparently, they gave him a contract that was even better than the one that Sam Darnold ended up signing. And he said, no, I don't want to be on this team going in this direction. I'd rather just go back with my dude, Pete Carroll.
Yep.
So that just says a lot about who Pete Carroll is. People want to be able to work with people that they enjoy being able to be around, that believe in them and put them in the best position to be able to succeed. And I think a lot of that just comes down to who Pete Carroll is. Even if I love Mike McDonald. He comes from the Ravens. He's a defensive-minded coach. But there's just something about Pete Carroll. His players really do love playing for him. So he's going to a situation. They don't have that bad of an offensive line. They have Brock Bowers. They have Jacoby Myers. They have draft capital. They need to be able to address the running back position. They're going to be able to do that in this draft.
In this class, for sure. Well, look, 6 Ring Dynasty called you out, bro. He said, man, Geno mid, man. What's up with them red zone efficiencies, brother? How you doing in the red zone, man?
Well, I'll have to look into that, but also too, they did have Kenneth Walker. You know, if I have Kenneth Walker or Zach Charbonnet, I'm going to want to run the ball as well. But what that really does come down to, I think that's a really, really good point. Chip Kelly actually was talking about how in the NFL, there is only 2 plays that matter. There's third down, and then there's red zone. So that is completely different from college. And college is not as important. You see so many breakaway runs and stuff like that. It is very difficult to be able to score in the red zone. That's what makes it one of the most important metrics and stuff like that.
That's the Dallas Cowboys, Rock.
Exactly.
They cannot score in the red zone.
When it comes down to that, that is just as much as the coaching and the offensive coordinator and the play calling as it is the player and stuff like that. Those are the 2 most critical downs. I didn't see too many plays in the past couple of years with Geno Smith where he had someone wide open or something like that, and he just completely messed it up. Because if you name the offensive coordinators that they've had over the last couple of years, they only lasted 1 year each. They keep changing their offensive coordinator. That's still something that they're still figuring out. But with Chip Kelly, you know, I think that he does bring, he brings 30 years of coaching experience. And you saw what he was able to do with Will Howard last year at Ohio State, who is one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out this year. I am more hopeful. And if you want to say mid, in the NFL, that's still pretty good. That's still between, like 12 and 20 range. I think that is enough to be able to win in the NFL if you have the team and the roster around them. But it's all in what is it called? It's all relative, is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more hopeful for him. People dog on him as a bottom end quarterback. He's way too talented of a passer, and he's been towards the top of the NFL. A lot of key metrics that I like to call him mid as AF.
Well, I say this, right? Like you just said, he had a moment where he could have been done, retired off to somebody else's league, or pretty much at home chilling. And now he's probably about to sign $100 million deal compared to what Sam Darnold just signed. So he went from again, almost losing his job and being the next Tyrod Taylor, because he could have been Tyrod Taylor, being a backup at the backup at the backup. And now he's Geno Smith leading the Las Vegas Raiders in one of the best offensive weapons, with Brock Bowers, probably one of the best running backs in this game, which they probably going to get, and have a little bit of fun, man. So shout out to Geno. Yeah. Nah, he is, Nick. And honestly, they could still draft the guy in the second or third and just let him sit behind him for 2 years, So yeah.
Tom Brady must like him too. I mean, he went to the Raiders.
Yeah,
so.
Tom is a quarterback, so he's not gonna go out there and spend his money else on somewhere that he think is a joke. You know what I'm saying? So, but before we move on from that though, right? Because I do want to move on from this. Do you think they were better off getting Geno instead of Sam Darnold? As far as what's the difference between the two? And we can keep it short, but what's the difference between Geno and Sam Darnold?
I think it comes down to, so one of the things that both of them do a very good job of is off of play action. So Geno Smith last year was the 6th best quarterback when it came to play action. Having Kenneth Walker and those wide receivers is a deadly combination, especially with a quarterback like Geno Smith who can throw the ball down the field. Sam Darnold, though, is not that much worse. He was the 8th best quarterback. So it kind of works for both teams being able to have ones where they can really utilize the run game. And that is something that I know that Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are going to want to do. We just don't know who they're going to be doing it with. But luckily for them, they're going to be, utilizing a draft class that's historic when it comes to the running back game. So I think both quarterbacks are aggressive. They're able to throw down the field. They are very, very similar to one another. But with Geno Smith being someone who's done it for 3 years consistently, where he's been an above average quarterback and has taken his team to the playoffs every year except last year. Last year was insane because they won, I think, 10 games and they still missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. They weren't bad last year, bro. They weren't.
No, they weren't.
They weren't awful. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They were just very inconsistent. New OC. They didn't know what their identity was because they had an amazing passing attack, but also an amazing running attack. Yeah. So, but overall, with the fact that Sam Darnold, we've seen his ceiling last year for only 1 year. We've seen consistency with Geno Smith for 3 years. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. So I think because of that consistency, because Geno Smith has done it for multiple years, that's why I give the advantage to Geno Smith. I think this is a downgrade for the Seahawks in getting Sam Darnold, but not too big of a one. And they're still able to do whatever it is that they want to do, except win playoff games when it matters, probably.
Well, don't jump that conversation too quick, brother. But I see 6 rings. So I need to wake Jerry up. Hey, listen, man, I can't tell you what that dude is doing. He's at Ben and Jerry's right now, getting some ice cream. And we just melting away, man. So let us just melt in peace, brother. All right. It's hot in Texas. We melting like ice cream out there, man. So it is what it is with them guys. But a good segue from Geno to Sam Darnold is my next conversation, which is Seattle Seahawks sign Sam Darnold and leave pretty much his receiving room broken with Jake Bobo as the receiver too. What's next for Sam Darnold and the Seattle offense? I mean, you got Kenneth Walker, who you love, right? That's your dog. JSN is a dog. Me personally, though, Rock, my biggest fear is that this doesn't help JSN. I know people saying that he's the 101 now and on his team, but I think you need a guy like DK to kind of take pressure over the top. And JSN being a slot guy, you can easily get the ball to him. I'm not saying that you can't. And Sam Darnold's probably going to look for him because his O-line is in shambles, really. And he doesn't have anything else to do as far as the weapons. But I just look at JSN as a guy. He could be a Cooper Kupp, or he could be a Devonta Smith, I believe. Devonta Smith wasn't a true one. Devonta Smith needed A.J. Brown, and then you saw what he became later. And I just think a guy like JSN, to me, in this offense with a quarterback like Sam Darnold, I think he might need a number 2.5 or 1.2. You know, I just think he needs a big guy, bigger presence. And they can find that in the draft. I'm not saying they can't. But right now, I don't think that JSN's price is as high for me, knowing that he's the only receiver on that team. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator, knowing that Sam Darnold, who sees ghosts is on the other side, we strapping JSN and make us, beat us somewhere else. So what's your take on this offense, Seattle and Sam Darnold, saving them people, man?
So just to review, last year, Sam Darnold was really, really good. There was a reason why some people were paying first in fantasy for him. He was a top 6 quarterback in a lot of different metrics. He was pushing the ball downfield, 9.2 yards ADOT. He was very, very aggressive in that O'Connell offense.
You know why he was good, Rock?
That you did have. Yeah, look at that.
That's why he was good, bro. So
yeah,
go ahead, keep talking. I ain't even cut you off, but go ahead.
No, that's a great graphic. Jake Bobo. I don't know what all the slander is on him. The guy didn't do nothing. Everyone's slandering his name as the wide receiver number 2. But adjusted yards per attempt, 8.22. That's top 9 in the NFL. He had a 102.5 passer rating. That's top 6. Big time throw rate, 5.6%. That's top 9. And also to adjusted completion percentage, 77.2%. That is also top 12 in the NFL. So Sam Darnold, we saw the absolute best from him. I personally believe so. When it comes to JSN, he was someone that I was ready to put on my overrated list last year. But then when I started looking further into him, he started taking over the number 1 wide receiver role on that offense. And he really started cooking over the last half of the season. I think by the end of the season, he did take over that number 1 role on that offense from DK Metcalf. So I'm not so worried about the fact that he can't serve as a number 1. I think that his market price and everything in fantasy is justified. I am very excited to see him in his 3rd year in the NFL and become, one of the top 12 wide receivers in the NFL last year, because that's his way he's grown his game. The real question is whether or not can he do it by himself? Because if they don't address the wide receiver position in a somewhat weaker class, it's a deep class, but it is a little bit weaker, especially when it comes to big playability. There's only a couple wide receivers who could take the top off of a defense in this draft. But then also, too, with the free agency, there's really nothing left. So it's just like not after all the wide receivers that have gone in the last couple of days. It was a weak class when it came to the free agency class.
I mean, you got guys out there, but there's nobody that's going to change, change this team dramatically.
But the real question is whether or not, and their biggest problem last year was the offensive line. Their offensive line went from being a super underrated offensive line 2 years ago, and then with injuries, it severely limited their passing attack and the pressure on Geno Smith. Sam Darnold does not do well under pressure, especially what we saw in the last couple of games that Sam Darnold played.
Ghosts, man.
Exactly. But then also, too, their biggest, the biggest saving grace for him is that he does have a running game. He's arguably the best 1-2 combination outside of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in Detroit with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. So you have that running game, you have that defense. So you need to build up the offensive line and give him a couple more weapons. But Sam Darnold, he's one of those ones that I think he could, unless he completely shits the bed like he does in the Jets. I don't think that's going to happen. He is going to get not just this year, but next year as well. I think he is relatively safe as from a quarterback perspective, but they do have some picks. So if they do want to pick a quarterback in, say, day 2, at the end of the 2nd or the 3rd round, maybe that's the way that they go. But no, I think there are some other issues outside of Sam Darnold. They did the best that they could after losing Geno Smith.
But I think there's though, Rock. When you look at this team isn't ready to win. Why sign a Sam Darnold? When you look at this roster, bro, you don't need Sam Darnold, right? I think they could have not saying you throw away a season, but when you lose what you lost and you look what's around, paying a quarterback like Sam Darnold. I mean, what was it about? You know, like I would have
It's a
rather had.
contract similar to Baker Mayfield. Do you think he brings as much to the Seahawks as the Baker Mayfield did with the Buccaneers?
I'm gonna ask you this: do you think that Baker Mayfield, when he went to the Bucks, was Super Bowl or playoff contender ready?
Yeah, I think Bowles, he's got a consistently winning culture and stuff like that, and is also in a very weak division. It's
So
a way tougher division
so
with
that's
the
what I'm saying.
NFC West.
So I justified that one, but I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are playoff ready, especially in that division. So why pay Sam Darnold 3 years, $100 million just to lose for 3 years when you could have just said, look, we're going to figure this quarterback thing out. We're going to build around and fix every other hole and then get our guy later on. Like they could have went out there in this draft right now, seen if someone failed, like your guy Jackson Dart or this a fill-in, right? Matter of fact, this is Jameis year. Let's go get Jameis. Let him throw the ball, go be crazy, and we'll figure it out as we go. But signing a quarterback for $100 million just to, as a fan's eye, lose and not make the playoffs for 3 years is crazy. Because I don't see them making the playoffs with this team.
They're all the same narratives that people were saying after JJ McCarthy went down. And look what Sam Darnold was able to do.
But it's bro, we got Jordan Addison. I mean, that team way different though, Rock.
Jordan Addison didn't do shit for the first half of the season.
Come on, Rock, man. All right, man. Here we go. All right.
I'm just saying, I think you bring up a great point. It's not the most sexy, exciting signing. But here's the thing, as from a team perspective, they don't have to change all that much. Yeah, you're showing me those graphics right now and stuff like that. But what did the Vikings do in the playoffs when it came to crunch time? They didn't do shit. They got absolutely destroyed and stuff like that. So,
but Seattle didn't even make it. So that means they're not gonna make it now. That they're even worse. If they couldn't make it with DK Metcalf and Lockett and Geno, do you think they're gonna make it with Sam Darnold and no DK and no Geno and no Lockett? I don't think so, bro.
I think that having a quarterback like Sam Darnold is better than having any other type of quarterback that's in free agency and potentially in the draft. Because unless you're going to trade all the way up to get Cam Ward, there is not that many quarterbacks in this draft that are going to be better than Sam Darnold. So if you can stay in the same ballpark, Fizz, can you imagine if you're a coach or the players in the locker room and you're like, we're just going to phone it in. You're just because we were too far away from being able to compete in the playoffs. You don't want to completely reset. That's the only pushback that
what I'm saying is, Rob, I don't think that signing Sam Darnold to $100 million still isn't a reset. He's not good. He's not good, bro. They're not going to be good this year. If you go get, and I'm just being biased, but
he's inconsistent. Yeah,
I'm gonna say this: Jameis Winston had the same record at the end of the year with this team as Sam Darnold would have, bro.
I don't know about that. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to throw 3 pick sixes like multiple times a year.
He might not throw 3 touchdowns multiple times in a game. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, bro, you spend $100 million on a quarterback. I know that's the going rate these days, but if I'm gonna spend that money, look how that worked out with New Orleans, right? They did the similar thing. They went and got Derek Carr. They even try to
good for 2 games, that's for sure.
So I don't see that New Orleans situation with them overpaying Derek Carr is going to work out if Seattle overpays Sam Darnold. I just don't see it working, man. I think that's enough about the ghost villain. And right now,
poor Sam Darnold, we're always shitting on him.
Before we go to our break, man, we got to talk on my boy, the Jets. Hey, wheels up, baby. Jet life. You know what I'm saying? They might have currency come through and rap a couple bars for him in the locker room, baby. But Justin Fields, new beginnings, a new era. Could this be the last chance for Fields? That's really the question I ask, because I feel like he has, I'm not gonna say no excuse, but man, when you got Garrett Wilson, who you play college ball with, you're already cool with, Breece Hall, you got a top 7, top 8 defense, and you got a defensive head coach. Now you're in a division where we know Buffalo is Buffalo. Miami is the Patriots are building on the defensive side. So everybody in this division, or 2 teams, more defensive oriented, and the Dolphins are just like fast, right? They just a fast team. We don't know what they really are. They just fast. Buffalo is the clear 101 in this division. But competing wise, right? You look at Aaron Rodgers for 2 years was a horrible, horrible disaster. Zach Wilson for 2 years, 3 years was horrible. Seeing Justin Fields walk in that locker room, if I've been through those storms, like if I'm Garrett Wilson and I've been through those storms of Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, bro, I'm parking this car for him. Hey man, where you parking at? I'm pulling up. Hey, what's up, bro? Like I'm dapping them up. We gonna hang out. We gonna have breakfast. I'm gonna show you the town. I want to have this best feeling, the best, bit of joy as a player in that locker room, knowing, man, we've been struggling for 2 years or 4 years with these last two guys. And it's been a disaster. And knowing what you are athletically, knowing what you did with the Steelers, you was 4-2. You left the Bears. And even when you left the Bears, you soured with the organization. But I don't think the fans were just totally over Justin Fields. I think the fans kind of like Justin Fields. They saw a potential in what could have been. He just needed the right coaching and right leadership. I believe Ben Johnson could have got my boy looking like he should be. But regardless, Justin Fields is a quarterback. I think him knowing that it's a 2-year, $40 million deal, this is my last chance. I got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You know what I'm saying, Rock? And I think it's this time to just go, man, and lift them wheels up, man, in New York and get it popping in with the Jets, baby. So Justin Fields to the moon, to the sky, to the clouds, and I'm riding with my boy, man. I might have to cop me a Fields jersey just to stand on it. And that's what it is, man. I love me some Fields. What you think he's bringing to this offense? I will say, though, before I let you go, I don't know how much this helps Breece Hall, because Breece Hall is a receiving back a lot heavy in this league. Like he gets overshadowed with targets. I don't know how much Justin Fields is going to throw him the ball. So his fantasy numbers, I don't know how much this boosted. But, man, for Garrett Wilson, who had Davante Adams in the way and Aaron Rodgers not showing up, he has to be smiling right now, man, and just clapping for joy, knowing that he got a guy whose number is still probably saved in his phone from back in the day, man. So what you think about the Jets, maybe, before we hit this commercial break, brother?
I think that this signing, it does have me excited. It definitely does, because the number one thing that I'm looking at right now is that I believe Aaron Glenn, being a defensive-minded coach, he's looking at what some of the best NFL teams do. They control the ball through being able to stop the run and being able to run the ball down the defense's throat. So Justin Fields has, I think, one of the best combinations with him and Breece Hall. It's going to be electric. It's going to be so fun to watch. And I think that's what they're going to want to do, is run the piss out of the ball with him, Braylon Allen, and also to that other running back that was also really good last year, who I can't remember. I think he's out of South Dakota State. Anyway, they have a top-end rushing attack with Justin Fields. So I think that's going to be awesome. They already have a defense, and they also have an offensive line they've invested so much draft capital into, so many free agency signings and stuff like that over the last couple of years. I think that this definitely opens up the door for Aaron Glenn to be able to run this team the way he wants to. The only question I have is, has he improved as a passer, Justin Fields? Because that has been his biggest knock throughout, his entire career, is that he's not of NFL caliber passing. We saw glimpses of it when he was with Chicago. He made DJ Moore, a top 6 wide receiver in the NFL. But then also, too, like with Garrett Wilson, I think that's great. In the same way that Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf can head it off, I think it's awesome that Garrett Wilson and Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields are going to be together. The only question, though, is like with Justin Fields, I know that George Pickens and Garrett Wilson couldn't be more different as wide receivers and stuff like that. But George Pickens wasn't able to be unlocked by Justin Fields, unfortunately. Sure. The question is whether or not Justin Fields can, perform as well with Garrett Wilson. Can he unlock him? Because we've been waiting Garrett Wilson's entire freaking career before he could finally be unlocked. We think he could be like CeeDee Lamb.
We know he's a top 6, top 5 receiver in this league, and he always finishes 18 to 20. And it's not his fault whatsoever.
So that's the only thing that makes me hesitate with Garrett Wilson. It's just like Justin Fields, outside of that one season with DJ Moore, He wasn't able to be really unlocked and stuff like that. They don't have any other weapons outside of him. They're probably going to cut Lazard. They're going to cut their tight end. They're going to cut all these players on their offense. So it's going to be only a rushing attack. And with Breece Hall, I think he's, in the same category as Bijan Robinson, as just like, and Jahmyr Gibbs, as just complete package rusher and receiver. So even if he does dip with the receiving, ability and stuff like that, because you have Justin Fields, I think that with the RPO, that they're going to be able to get, so many more opportunities for Breece Hall in the rushing attack. And he's such a talented rusher in the NFL. So I think even if you take away from one area, I think he's going to improve in the other. The real question is durability. Breece Hall has had one major injury and has had lots of nagging injuries throughout his entire career. So maybe that's why they go for Braylon Allen as well in the rushing attack. But overall, I don't know about the overall impact this makes him a playoff team, because I just don't think he's that good of a passer yet. And I haven't seen enough improvement from him yet when it comes to that.
So I'm glad, as you said what you said, bro. And I don't mean to close out with it, but I'm close out with this. I'm glad 6 rings. I mean, you got some good questions, bro. I like how you kind of letting me know, like, you kind of going back and forth with us. And I like this, right? So he said, tell me why this situation is any different from Fields on the Bears. This is why. Comfortability, right? When he was with the Bears, his first stint, Matt Nagy was there. We all know that was a disaster, right? Cool. He gets a new head coach. Then they go get DJ Moore. Now, he looked the best he's ever been as a passer with DJ Moore, right? The problem is he had to learn DJ Moore. He had to, spend time with DJ Moore. He had an offensive coordinator who we knew was trash, who would end up getting fired. His defensive head coach was just like, he's fired, right? Every coach that was on that staff is gone. Almost every coach that was on any staff he was on is gone. But his guy, DJ Moore, he had to learn. He had to, link up with. And DJ Moore, remember last year early, DJ Moore kept saying, man, every time they asked him about Caleb, he kind of gave you this look like, I think he missed Fields. You know what I'm saying? And I know he knows Caleb is a hell of a passer. But I think DJ Moore was growing with Fields. He asked, can they keep Fields, signs Fields? So I think to switch over to the Jets, comfortability is what Justin Fields will have with Garrett Wilson. If they really boys and go back from way back in college, I think he don't have to relearn Garrett. You my guy, because we know each other. We was in them dorm rooms. If you get hired in a new job and you first thing you doing, you looking for somebody right? When you go in that classroom, you looking for where I'm gonna sit my desk at. Oh, I know him from back around my middle school days. Let me sit over here with him. That's how I think Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson going to be when they come in that locker room. I want my locker by him because I know him. And it's my dog. We got each other phone. They probably texting right now, right? So already having that comfortability from player to receiver is a plus. Then you got a guy like Aaron Glenn who's coming from a team with the Jets who was a winning organization. He's bringing winner leadership in the locker room. I believe Aaron Glenn is going to come in them doors and say, hey, we not where we were last year. This is a new era. This is a new day. And he's going to instill confidence in Fields, man. Some people need confidence when they go to work. And I think Justin Fields being in Pittsburgh, knowing that I went 4-2 and I'm about to get benched for Russell Wilson, that wasn't no confidence. You didn't tell me that you trusted me for real. I was just a Band-Aid until the team healed up. So me personally, I think Justin Fields has a breath of fresh air. Matter of fact, I follow him on Instagram. The man is over there in Dubai right now having a blast with his family celebrating. So
probably
he having a good time
over there.
He having a good time, letting people know, hey, I'm happy. And I think paying him what they paid him at least lets him know that we trust you this year. You don't have to worry about nothing. And confidence, bro. When you know nobody else is going to come in, if you have a 3 interception game, oh man, they might bench me this week. I just think knowing that he's the guy is a good thing for him, bro. So that's my take on Justin Fields and the situation being better.
I really like what Nick says about coaching staff, because with 100%. this situation, Aaron Glenn is a first-time head coach. I don't know if you guys know who their OC is. His name is Tanner Engstrand. He was the passing game coordinator for Detroit. He brought him over for when he left Detroit. This
There you
is
go.
also the first time he's been an OC. So you have two first-time, coaches in their
Yeah.
positions, and also too, they're bringing on a quarterback they've never worked with before. So when you bring in those types of, those three components in a completely new environment,
Everybody
that
betting
is
on each other.
very tough. That is
But
very, very tough. So that has to be something where what you're speaking to right now about the
mhm,
confidence and stuff like that, there has to be rapport. There has to be between the coaches and the quarterback where
for
they
sure.
fight for one another and have confidence and trust in one another. That's the only thing that we feel sorry for Justin Fields because of the situation that he went through, not only in Chicago, but also in Pittsburgh. There are so many people who are fighting for him, like yourself. That we want to have that opportunity given for him. I'm just not sure that he has improved as much as a passer,
Yeah.
or if he's capped at his ceiling when it comes to being a passer. I don't think that's true. I think that there is still more meat on the bone for him to improve as a passer. And he hasn't sought it out maybe the same way other quarterbacks have, and they've proved their game and stuff like that. So I want to be super excited. I am excited to be able to watch Justin Fields anytime he's on Sunday. But with all these unknowns, with that division, with this all being completely new, at the very least, it's going to be super, super interesting. We're going to find out very, very quickly.
We're gonna
Within the
find out,
first
baby.
game or two, we're going to find out what they're going to try to do. They're probably just going to try to run the piss out of the ball and play
Yeah.
defense. So,
Hey, that's a good formula, man. So shout out my boy. I'm glad he got signed, man. We ain't gonna hold y'all up on the Jets too much longer, man. So quick little break. I wasn't even gonna play the break, Rock, but I need a breath of fresh air right quick, man. So we're gonna get a quick little break. Good 20 seconds. Gonna be right back talking about the rest of the free agency. And I'm gonna let Rock cook, baby. So we'll be right back. Yeah.
Welcome to South Harlem, and we glad you here today. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Welcome to South Harlem, and we glad you here today. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate.
Here we go, babe. We back. I think my internet glitched on me, man. That's why I couldn't get it up. But no,
it did. I thought we got stuck in the freaking time warp right there.
Yeah, man. I was like, damn, what the hell? So my computer said ain't no breaks going on, but we got a break in. Hopefully, the message behind those breaks is, regroup, get everything together, but also like and subscribe, man. That was just a reminder. Like and subscribe, man. Share to your friends, leave a comment, let us know how y'all feeling. And we appreciate y'all being here always, bro. So to move on to the rest of free agency, man, to be honest, Rock, it's a lot of big news, a lot of breaking news. One is Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was re-signed back with the Buccaneers, 3 years, $66 million. And from what I read, he could have got more money, like 20.
He took less money. Yeah.
Yeah, 20 plus million signed elsewhere. But when you look at him and what he was doing in Tampa before he messed up his ankle, bro, he was on a tear. Like, I even traded I traded big for Chris Godwin, and 2 weeks later.
No, what did you trade?
Hey, Rock, I traded JSN for Chris Godwin, man. So that's a whole nother topic, man. But Chris Godwin was on a 10, bro. And I love me some Chris Godwin, man. He was cooking, bro. So I will say, though, when he was like, I think receiver 3 or 5, man, when he went down. And he was killing at that time. So I just say this. I'm glad he's back with Baker. I'm sure Baker is glad he's back. And Mike Evans too, right? Let's bring the boys back and have a good time and chase this championship. So I like this signing. What do you think about it, Rock, before we move forward, man?
Oh, sorry about that. I think this is great, especially for Chris Godwin and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are a fantastic franchise. So to be able to keep Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan, like we saw, we're going to see tonight with our draft. He's really rising up and stuff like that. So to have 3 guys that are as talented as they all play very, very different roles. And we saw the very best, from Chris Godwin when he was mainly out of the slot, wide, as a slot wide receiver, being able to just do basically whatever he wanted. He was top like 3 to 6 in just about every major category. I'm not going to go through all of them, but all the important ones, he was top 3 to 6. So he was playing at an absolutely elite level. He was playing the best of his entire career. So I'm excited to be able to see him come back. I am a little bit hesitant about the injury and stuff like that. So hopefully they do not rush him back. They don't need to rush him back because they have 2 other really solid wide receivers. This has to be so exciting for Baker Mayfield as well. He's been one of the most underrated quarterbacks the last 2 years. And now we can see him continue to progress and be one of the better quarterbacks in the league with Chris Godwin in the fold. They have Bucky Irving, who had an amazing rookie season as well. The Buccaneers, I think, are a shoo-in for being at the top of their division in the NFC South. Atlanta's going to try to challenge them with that. But this is the best scenario that could have happened for Chris Godwin. I think that's the reason why I think it is very, very interesting. Them losing their OC who went to Jacksonville, and despite, losing money, he cares more about the situation, which is not something you always typically see. So I'm very interested in knowing. I think it was it the Patriots that offered him like $20 more million?
I never heard
it was the other one.
It
was the Patriots.
But I was going to guess the Patriots though, because they had the most money to spend.
Yeah, they offered him, I believe, $20 more million. So he would rather play as the number 1, number 2 for the Buccaneers and stay in Tampa than go to a completely new situation, go under Vrabel, get passes from Drake May. It just speaks to how important it is, the situation. And I don't knock them for it at all. I think the Buccaneers are going to continue to keep competing in the playoffs.
Sometimes it's hard to trade in them palm trees for snowballs, man. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't knocking them for wanting to stay in Tampa, baby. So, yeah, man, the next big signing we had, Commanders, man, they went out and traded big. Laremy Tunsil, got him from Houston, which I just saw. I see y'all. I know y'all see me looking down a lot, man. I'm looking because I'm keep getting updates on my phone from these different trades, but the Texans have moved on 2 different offensive linemen like today and yesterday. So I don't know what's going on. Hopefully C.J. Stroud can stand up right this year. But Laremy Tunsil, man, for 4 picks, 2025 fourth. And the Commanders ended up trading away the 26 second, 26 fourth, a 25 third, and a 25 seventh. So they got Tunsil and a 4th this year, which is kind of wild. But yeah, man, what you think about this one though? I think, to be honest, it was a lot of people cracking jokes in the comments. And if you know about Laremy Tunsil, he was like leading the league in all first false starts and jumping off sides. And
he had 19 penalties last year.
So I read a lot of comments, right? It was funny when this first happened. A lot of people said he jumped off sides as soon as he heard the news. So I just say, man, shout out to Laremy Tunsil, man. He's a dog. A little bit older in the tooth, man, long in the tooth. But I think the Commanders are trying to win now. They trying to take command, as they say. So shout out to the Commanders trying to do their thing. I know Pops was waiting all day. Now you can log off. I know he's waiting on this news. But go ahead, Rock, man. Go ahead, let us know what you think about this move and how it can help the team. And we're gonna move forward and keep on going, brother.
Yeah, so just a couple of guess. That has to be the craziest thing.
I'm about to find it right now.
during the NFL draft, and then just seeing him fall. That was the same draft class as Ronnie Stanley, who my Baltimore Ravens just re-signed. But yeah, as far as grades go, overall grade 76.5. That's above average. Run blocking grade for PFF 73.6. That's also above average. But what he really brings is elite pass blocking. He had an 88.6 rating last year via PFF. That's number 4 amongst all tackles, which is pretty impressive. But you brought it up earlier. 19 penalties. That's 141st out of 141. He was dead last when it came to penalties and tackles and stuff like that. He allowed 2 sacks, but also 2, he doesn't miss that many games. He played 1,026 snaps last year, which is 19th. So he's going to be consistent when it comes to that. And I think that's honestly what they really needed, is pass blocking on the offensive line. Their identity as a running team still is kind of up in the air with Brian Robinson and honestly, Jaden Daniels is their best rusher last year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think that this is great. I think that they got, one of the best, pass blocking tackles in the NFL. We're able to trade for him. I don't knock the what is it called, what they paid for him and stuff like that. He is 30 years old, but we've seen plenty of tackles who play, into 33, 34, 35. If they're Hall of Fame level, they can play until their mid 30s and stuff like that. So I think that this is a great move. I love how aggressive the Commanders have been. It seems like half the signings that have happened over the last couple of days have been the Commanders. They're going all in. They understand that you only get sometimes a 3 or 4 year window. It doesn't matter even how talented their quarterback is, because if you look at like players like Joe Burrow and the Bengals and stuff like that, your window can be gone just like that.
For sure.
I absolutely love the aggressiveness that they have with the Commanders. I think that this was a massive signing by them and a good one.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. Larry Tunsil, stay out of them DC streets, man. Stay away from Balls, man, D-Lo and all that za. We don't need you smoking out of the gas mask while you here in the city, brother. All right, stay safe, stay smoke free. That's how we gonna roll with Larry Tunsil, man. But shout out to Larry. That was a wild time, man, back in those days. But
it's legal now, so I don't know why they were knocking him for it now so much. Look how much the times have changed.
Hey, now he might can do it now and not even get away with it, right? So it's all good, man. Anybody in the chat got their team up here, man? Before we move on, we're gonna get up out of here soon. But I will say Myles Garrett, he's back with the Browns, and I saw something and I could not find it. Right, I had so many.
Someone was posting it in the chat. They're like, I need a winning team. Signs Kenny Pickett. All right, that's good enough, I guess.
and look, let's talk about the Browns. Quick, 30 seconds. The Browns quarterback, what are they doing?
It don't matter. It's gonna be fucking awful anyway. The best quarterback that we've seen from them was Joe Flacco and then Baker Mayfield, and they ran both their asses out of town. It was great having Jameis Winston, but yeah, they have all these offensive playmakers. Their offensive line is still in shambles. They don't have any running back outside of Jerome Ford because Nick Chubb is on his last leg, and their defense is getting older. So I don't understand what it is. Why can't you just let the guy go? Just let him. He's already given everything. They're going to do what they did to Joe Thomas, Hall of Fame,
hey,
at their position. Brother. Man,
he could have held out and just said, forget it. But hey, he got paid. You know what I'm saying? So
it is a lot of money. What was it, $123 million extension?
It's a lot of people at work right now that feel like losers, and he feels like one, but he getting paid. So it is what it is, man.
What I wonder is if Browns fans are glad that he's back, or they're like, please just escape, go. We want to see you do something.
For real.
So that's
it'll be like that. And give them about 3 years. They'd be saying, all right, man, go ahead, go win something, man. Go win the ring or something. I will say, though, I saw somebody say that earlier, and I forgot who it was that brought it up, but the Patriots, man, the Patriots are cleaning up. They had the most money to spend. I want to say they spent over $100 million already on defense alone, and they went and got Milton Williams yesterday. They got Cyrus Tonga, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Cyrus Tonga or Kyrus Tonga. Morgan Moses, they just signed Carlton Davis, Robert Spillane from the Raiders. Harold Landry, and the icing on the top, they went and got Josh Dobbs and no other than Mac Hollins. So I guess Mac Hollins added to the rest of this sorry receiving core was probably the move they needed to make. But yeah, man, when you look at the other signings, I believe Josh Dobbs was a signing that they're going to move on Joe Milton. I did read yesterday that they're looking to move Joe Milton now, but I said as soon as they sign Josh Dobbs, they don't need Josh Dobbs if they have Joe Milton. So I heard that the coaches are actually trying to look out for Joe Milton and send him to the right situation. A lot of people don't really care for Joe Milton. A lot of people think he's totally athletic and can be a spark to an offense. Hey, maybe the Steelers sign him. If I'm the Steelers, give me Russ and put Joe Milton behind him, and I create my own Justin Fields at some point. So I like that for Joe. But the Patriots overall, though, like I said, I want to say they spent over $100 million in cap space, and they went and balled out, man. And that defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the AFC come next year with the guy that they got as a head coach leading the defense. So what you got, Rob, before we move on out of here?
Milton Williams was the number one free agent when it came to the defensive interior alignment. He has a pass rush grade of 90.4 as a D tackle. That's second amongst all defensive interior linemen, which is absolutely insane. And then also, too, there are other signings. Harold Landry, he had a run defense grade of 82.2. That's seventh amongst all edges. And all these other signings that they did, Carlton Davis as a cornerback, he also is a great factor in the run game, being able to come down and tackle. But then also, too, there Robert Spillane, run defense grade, eighth amongst linebackers. So they are going
Spillane,
all
I love me some
in.
Spillane, bro. Yep.
Yeah, Robert Spillane was
That's my
huge
boy. He's the
signing.
dog.
Huge signing
Yeah.
from the Raiders. So I love what their coaching staff is hitting on in Vrabel, where I know they already said that they want to run the piss out of the ball. They understand that being able to control the clock that way and be able to stop the run, that's just the formula that so many teams are going to try to go after. They actually had the money to be able to do it and get everyone that they wanted. It's just basically just with the money. So I am excited to see what they're going to do. And then, everyone's super excited about their quarterback for next year as well.
Well, I see Terminal asked about Joe Milton, the late second and Superflex. I'm not sending the second for Joe Milton, bro. I don't, unless he's traded and, I hear news that he's, like they said, Pittsburgh Steelers or something. Third rounder, I'll take the chance on it if I got the room to make it. But second, nah, not with this class coming up, bro. I couldn't.
Okay, Fizz, can you tell me something? Why the hell are people thinking about Joe Milton? Well, like, why is it? Because he had one game. They had one game where he played really, really well. I understand he had a great combine, but why are you going to give up a late second?
You know why, Rob?
Why?
Because I don't want to say that. I was going to say the title out loud. I don't want nobody stealing my title for this thing we got going on later, bro. But I will say, people like what they hear. They like what's popping right now. And Joe Milton, bro, is the talk of the town for everybody that's looking for that one gem, that diamond in the rough, that guy that you could just find and, say you could brag next year. Yeah, I traded for Joe Milton when nobody wanted him. Now he's QB9. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants that. I'm not saying he's going to be that. I'm not saying that, Rock. What I'm saying is that's what people want right now when it comes to Joe Milton. I think that they're just trying to, hit the dirt until they get that diamond. And I think they think Joe Milton is one. I like his skill set and his athleticism and all his attributes to the game. I just don't know he's ever going to be a starter in the NFL like for a long time. So,
okay.
I'll say this: if
the quarterback has to really impress us, like, they have to go so above and beyond
for sure
that they get their way out of that situation. Joe Milton.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Rob. If he gets traded to Pittsburgh, let's just say, if they sign Russ, if I have Russ, I would trade for Joe Milton. It wouldn't be a second, but I wouldn't mind having.
He want to play. He want to play. He would never get any snaps ahead of Russell Wilson. No way.
No. I'm not saying he will, but him getting hurt or whatever the case, if I have Russ, I'm trading for Joe Milton. So whatever team he goes to, Sam Darnold, right? If Seattle trades for Joe Milton, if I got Sam Darnold, who got Joe Milton? Let me just give my backup. You never know. Daniel Jones just went to the Colts earlier. If I got A. Rich, why not go get Daniel Jones? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at Joe Milton right now, as a guy that I want to be my backup behind the starter, and I just keep him in the pocket in case something happens.
I think so. To Terminal's point, he's asking about, and this is something that Coop does talk about, there is an insane value to having backup quarterbacks, because we've seen in the NFL over the last 4 or 5 years how much attrition there is at that position, where we're seeing anywhere from 60 to 70 quarterbacks playing a game throughout the entire NFL season, which is absolutely insane. But Drake May, I don't expect him, the way he plays the game with how young he is, that he's going to miss any games whatsoever.
They saying that he's getting traded, though. They saying Milton getting traded, though. If he behind Drake May, I don't want him. I'm with you. But if he gets traded, bro, I gotta see what's up. Is what I'm saying. Yeah,
and for me, the way I'm going to be able to use that capital, it's on players that no one is expecting anything of. So maybe a fourth or a fifth, and I want to have them behind teams where the quarterback ahead of them is kind of in question and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not going to give up a second for a player that we haven't seen that much from. But then also too, I just rather have the players that are in the second round and ahead of him.
For sure.
So,
Yeah, like I said, the second was definitely high. I think Terminal know that. But yeah, man, shout out to you anyway, bro. Before we get off this topic and we get up in the kitchen and see what Rock got cooking, hey man, the Cowboys, we can't leave without speaking on them.
they
Javonte
made a
Williams,
huge move with that
they made a
Javon.
huge move, right? But I will say this, Pops, I hope you listen. If you in the chat, please comment because me and my father argue about this every year, Rock. He keep telling me every year, Jerry Jones don't want to pay his players, but he want to pay all these other people, blase, blase, blah, right? So I got this stat line right here for you, Pops, and all these people that think Jerry spends money. Now y'all starting to see it. The Cowboys have not signed a free agent over $6 million since 2015 when they signed Greg Hardy. The salary cap is increased by 135 million, and they still penny pinching. And you look at the two signings today. Well, Javonte Williams was yesterday, and they just made a signing for an old lineman, I believe, a little while ago. I can't see it right now. It's on my phone. But long story short, for all those people that argue with me and go back and forth and tell me that Jerry don't want to pay CD or Dak or Micah because he buying up, bro, he spends Jerry buys the replacements. It's literally what he does. He will spend $3-4 million on the guy that got hurt for 9 games and give him $2 million on a 1-year deal. That's what he does. So I'm not saying I like the formula. I just wanted to bring that stat line up because it was a good stat. And people always go back and forth with me about why Jerry don't pay other players, but don't play his players, but want to pay other players. The man don't spend no money in free agency. He pays the players that he drafts. So I just had to bring that up. I know y'all want to hear some Cowboys news because y'all love them so much. So Javonte Williams is there, though, Rob, before we close out the rest of this show and then let you get in the kitchen, baby. How you feeling about Javonte Williams? Where does he stack up against anything, I guess, at this point? I'll say my opinion, I'm cool on him. Don't want no parts of him. I believe they're still going to draft a running back, if not 2. And why not bring Rico Dowdle back, right? Javonte Williams, a new running back, a new scheme. You got to figure out what to do with him. Yes, he's a pass catcher. Rico Dowdle did just as fine as the start of last year. Why not bring him back? So I'm cool on Javonte Williams, and I still believe they're going to take a running back high in this draft, if not high 3rd round at the least. So yeah, I don't have much to say on Javonte Williams, bro.
So one thing I will say about the Cowboys, they went from being, I believe, bottom 10 in effective cap space. They're now top 10. They're right. They made a whole bunch of cuts. They now have $48 million in effective cap space to play with.
Now that was CD Lamb and Dak made cap space with the money they did. They ain't cut a lot of people, bro.
Well,
they just
let
CD and them put some money back to the future, credit card spending.
That was very nice of them. So when I look at the best free agents and stuff like that, we're looking at Cam Robinson at offensive tackle. I think that they definitely need some help on the offensive line. Coleman Shelton, Josh Myers on the interior offensive line. Edge defenders, this is the biggest thing that they really, really need is defense and stuff like that. I'm not so worried about them from the defensive tackle position because that's one of the biggest strengths in this class. Same thing with edge defenders. I don't know if I see Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, or Joey Bosa, DeMarcus Lawrence. There are quite Matthew Judon, Preston Smith. There are quite a number of edge defenders that are still available. And then also, too, at linebacker, they have just been killed at linebacker position outside of Micah Parsons. And there's like Eric Kendricks and some other ones.
I was hearing they was looking at Greenlaw, man, but the Broncos got him. So, man, I was hoping we could have got that Greenlaw signing. That would have been smooth. I would have loved
He was
that
not available for very long, was he? He got snatched up very, very quickly. So
yeah,
but
I mean, no, my fault. They did a signing, I believe. What was it? Damn. I don't know, Rock. Forget the Cowboys, man. We good on them. You want to speak anything else on them before we move on?
The only thing I'll say is Javonte Williams is I think they're still going to look at running back. Javonte Williams can't do it all by himself. And I doubt that they bring back Rico Dowdle. So I think that they're just going to go with I think Javonte Williams does not force them to have to double tap at the position, even though it would probably be a good idea
they should
in the NFL draft. So they didn't pay hardly anything for him. he does have some upside. It's just his injuries and stuff like that. So fresh start for Javante, who at one point was the RB1 in Dynasty for one offseason, if you remember that. Hopefully he can regain some of that, luster that he lost. So I am a little bit excited. I really wanted the Cowboys to really attack this offseason. They regressed last year. They're regressing right now. So if they can, maybe get some of these edge defenders that are in free agency and attack the defense,
going all in, right?
Then I'm going to feel a lot better about the Cowboys.
Well, like I said, I do believe that they are, find themselves to 10 wins if everybody's healthy, because that's what they seem to do. They are like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to find a way to get over 500, but what are they going to do after that? Nobody knows. So it was Solomon Thomas who they signed. So that was like a 2-year, $8 million deal. So still not over $6 million, right? So when they come to those contracts, man, in free agency, the Cowboys just do not spend money outside those doors. And I do believe they're going to pay Micah Parsons. He ain't going nowhere. So, and I'm not saying Javante going to be trash, but I do think this year he might be okay. But the running back position, bro, was so good this year. Javante could have waited, and not that they can't. They only gave him 1 year, $3 million, I believe. So go out, if I need them to get a running back from between rounds 2 and 3 is what I'm saying. Round 2 and 3, I need a running back taken, or I'm over him. So yeah, man, that's the end of it. We done with free agency. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 100 more signings while we sitting here talking. But nevertheless, man, nevertheless, what I'm trying to get all my words out. We got to get up in the kitchen with my boy Rock. That's how we gonna close this thing out, man. We appreciate y'all being here. I ain't had too much music to play. I ain't gonna lie, Rock. I forgot to put it up, but when Davante Adams and them came up, man, I was gonna play that California Love one time. You know what I'm saying? He out there in Cali, man. So. No music today, though. I said let's just get up in the kitchen and clean the dishes.
You already got a strike last year. That was tough.
Yeah. For sure. So my boy Rock put the menu up for me this week. I ain't have it last week. We're still gonna leave it in the comments. So Rock, man, what we got here, brother? What we got here? You sent me this.
So yeah, we're gonna. So for what's cooking good looking this week, we are going to do a trio of fancy grilled cheese sandwiches. And as you can see from
3 grilled cheeses, bro. You doing your thing. Go ahead, man.
Because you were talking about, late midnight snacks and stuff like that. And if Adam is still in the chat, he was last year messaging me and calling me. He's like, I need, like a fancy grilled cheese sandwich, something that's going to really hit after putting in all these late hours, into South Harmon and stuff like that. So here are some of the ideas that I sent him. When it comes to grilled cheese and stuff like that, I think the most important thing, Fizz, is that you do not buy pre-shredded cheese. They use, I don't know if you knew this, they use additives like potato starch and cellulose, which is just wood pulp, as an anti-caking agent. And that completely impacts the melting and the texture of the cheese and stuff like that. So always buy in blocks and stuff like that. That's the way that cheese absolutely needs to be able to be enjoyed. And I have 5 different cheeses here. So the first one for the first sandwich, it's called Oaxaca. That's a cheese from Mexico. It comes in a ball and is stringy. So it's very similar to mozzarella. And then with the second cheese, it's like my 2 favorite cheeses. They're both Italian. Fontina, which comes from northern Italy, very buttery, nutty flavor, super fantastic for melting. Don't just use it in a grilled cheese. Put it over top of a grilled steak. That's going to be really, really good. And then Parmigiano Reggiano. That's the king of all cheeses. That comes from Parma, Italy. This one that I use is aged for 5 years. It's hard, crumbly cheese that's bold, savory, nutty, salty. And then with the last one, I used Swiss Gruyere. That cheese is one of the best tasting cheeses out there. It comes from cow's milk. That comes from Switzerland. It's supple. It's creamy. It's nutty. It's oniony. And then I also use raclette, which is a French cheese. Very pungent, kind of stinky aroma. But once you get past that smell and taste it after it's been toasted, it's really, really good. And as you can tell, for all of these, I have bacon, because bacon just always makes everything better. And then some sort of jam. So I did 2 fruit spreads for the first one, and then I did an onion jam for the other one. So once you get all those ingredients and stuff like that, first thing you're going to want to do is cook up the bacon. And then after I cook it up, I use kitchen shears and I cut it up. So once I do that, I just don't like biting into a sandwich and then pulling it out and it's just one big ass piece of bacon that's just sticking out. So I cut it up and then I set it aside. Here are some of the tips for making the perfect grilled cheese sandwich. First thing you want to do is spread mayonnaise over each side of the bread. And then when you do that and then melt some butter in the pan at medium high heat, when you toast it, there's a reaction with the butter and also with the mayonnaise that gets the perfect golden crust, on each side of the bread. And you're going to want to toast both sides. You don't want to just toast one side and then have the other one have no texture and soft and stuff like that. So after you toast both sides, you're going to want to flip it on one side of this, one slice of the bread. You're going to want to put jam, and then the other side, you're going to want to put the cheese and all the other accoutrements, like for the Oaxaca one, basil and balsamic vinegar and stuff like that. And then once you have that, once the cheese starts to melt, then you're going to want to take that jam side piece of bread, put it over top, press that sucker down, and then just keep flipping until golden brown. Now, you're going to have a hard time, Fizz, being able to pick which one your favorite one is. So what I recommend doing, buy the ingredients for all three sandwiches. It's not going to be, that cost prohibitive, and there's not that many ingredients, and share the meal with somebody. Cut each of those suckers in half, and then you try to decide which your favorite one is. But this is one of my all-time favorite midnight snacks. And I think, do you have any pictures?
Yes, sir. I got you, brother. I got you, man.
Right.
Come on. I'm cooking up, man. I'm cooking up, Rock. So I want to make sure you got it all. Hey, when I saw this picture, I said, damn. Hey,
Damn.
I ain't never seen a grilled cheese look like it. You know what I'm saying, man? I ain't gonna hold you, Rock. That thing right there looked torch, bro. Woo.
Yeah.
Woo. Woo. Hey, for real.
It was nice. It was super nice and crispy.
Hold on. Let's see. You got me the video footage, bro. Let's check it out.
Damn. Yeah, buddy. My man.
Hey, I like that right there, bro. That was fire. That was fire, man. I like them ad libs you throw in there too, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie though, Rock. I don't know which one is your favorite, and then I'm gonna
Dude, when I was with my wife, we were eating them up. She was like, "They're all amazing. They're all good. I can't pick one." She was in. That's the crazy thing. All those cheeses come from such different parts of the world. They're all such different ingredients. But the best thing about cheese, the same thing with wine, you have to pair it up with what works with it. All these different ingredients I have, they pair perfectly. We use something very similar to the apricot one, which is Adam's favorite one. We put apricot on our sandwiches at the restaurant for our melts and stuff like that. But we use ricotta and we use Fontina cheese. So that's what it all comes down to. You don't have to pick a favorite one. Cook all three of them up and share them with other people. For nothing hits like that late at night after a hard day's work, man.
All right, so for those that don't need it, that didn't get it, man, get your screenshot. We're going to post the ingredients in the comments. And we appreciate my brother, man, dropping them good old grilled gems on us, man. Them things look fire, Rock. I ain't going to lie to you, man.
They're real good.
Lie, man. I might have to hit that. You bite that, and that's the first thing you're going to say when you bite one of them, man. So shout out my boy, man, for getting in the kitchen, cooking up for us, man, keeping it going. We love putting him in his element. That's what he like to do. And, yeah, man, we glad you here to teach us something every day, brother. Well, every Tuesday anyway. So tonight, though, man, tonight we got the draft going on, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We did a mock draft on Sunday. We changed the format up, man. We went from, instead of doing it like a Dynasty rookie draft where we go 3 rounds with rookies, or a Dynasty startup where we draft the regular veteran players and add the rookies in, we combined the two. So the first 3 rounds are rookies only, and rounds 4 through 12, we only did 12 rounds. Round 4 through 12 are vets. So It's a different way to look on things, different way to see how you can kind of pick and choose. If I want to pick 101 in the rookie, but my vet pick will be the 412, or do I want to pick 111 in the rookies and 401 is where the vets kick in? So it's a different way we kind of introducing things. And I told Rock, man, we got to come up with a name for this, because once we announce it, they might start making content on it, man. So the Marathon Startup Dynasty, or Marathon Startup, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call it, because it's a marathon. It's a relay race. My boy Rock told me it's like a relay. So you're going from the beginning with the young guys, and each round you're getting older and older. But the best part about it to me is why I figure it's like a marathon, because in a marathon, you got to figure out your pace. You got to figure out what's working for me. And by the round 5 in this strategy, you still got the top 20, 30 talent, but you still
when you hit your stride.
You still got to figure out your stride, because you 5 rounds in and you still got guys that's would have gone 3 rounds ahead in your other league. You know what I'm saying? So just a different way, man. We're going to introduce it, break it down a little bit more. Join the Patreon, man, if you want to join in on these mock drafts. We're going to start trying to do these every Tuesday night. The draft was Sunday, I believe, at 5 p.m. this Sunday. So we see what time we want to do it this week, man. But we just trying to change it up, man. Keep giving y'all what y'all want, and why y'all here. Y'all like and subscribe with us. So we're going to keep feeding y'all what we need to feed you. So Rock dropping off real cheaters. We dropping off good content. And also don't forget mock drafts. You need the rookie drafts. You need to know what's going on in your drafts. Get that rookie draft guide. It's already out. Southharmon.com. Southharmonff.com. And then if you want to just go straight to the draft, go to draftguide25.com. So go ahead, check that out, man. Get all the breakdown on all the top offensive guys coming out, live update. So if one of them slip and fall on the grape in the store, we're going to put that in their profile so you won't miss nothing, baby. So we always going to keep you updated. We always going to keep it popping around here. And that's the end of the show, baby. We kept it short. We kept it close, Rock. We a little bit over, but we got good timing, man. How you feeling about today, bro?
I'm feeling really, really good. I am very much looking forward to tonight as well. I love our unique, take on being able to do this, because we want to give the rookies their due, So that's why we're going to put them at the beginning. They're the, front of mind and stuff like that. And then we're going to hand off the baton to the rest of the players in the NFL. So I like being able to segment it like that, so that we can talk about both things and it's not all jumbled up together and stuff like that. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to, in future drafts, to join the mock draft for us, so we could talk about, your strategies, the players that you were looking at and stuff like that. And also, too, I do appreciate the love when it comes to the cooking segment. It's something that's very, very important to me, but it's something I want to engage with the people and stuff like that. So either in the comments or right before the show is over, if there's a recipe that you absolutely love, you want to take to a different level, or you want a different spin on it, it's been great being able to do that with Fizz with his recipes. I want the recipes from you guys. So if you guys want to either put that in the chat, the comments, or just DM me on Twitter, I want to be able to cook for you guys and continue to cook up. So I really appreciate that.
No doubt. And I was looking for the thumbnail. Can't find it. Not going to worry about it. So end of the day, man, it's already uploaded. Go on the channel after you close this on this one. South Harmon Vibes. Notifications, let us know. I mean, so you don't miss out on the show later. You ain't no excuse about, man, I forgot. I ain't know. Hit them notifications. The show is already uploaded on there waiting for you. And 7:30 p.m. Eastern, these same two faces will be back. And I might be eating a grilled cheese when we log on, baby. So we're going to see what's good. We're going to see what's popping. Rock, before we get out of here, one of them things, baby.
Huh?
That's how I'm rocking when I'm eating my grilled cheese, baby. We out of this thing next week.